I want to thank you all for attending this vigil in honor of George Floyd, especially since this was organized so quickly. We were really intentional in not publicizing anything on Facebook, of not creating an event for obvious reasons, concerns of safety for our community members that are part of SDA and just the broader Shakopee community. For today, to honor a man that was tragically taken from us. George Floyd was a victim of police brutality. Before drawing attention to looting, we must listen and understand the effects of constant collective trauma, oppression, and racial violence. We must react with empathetic hearts.
Mr. Floyd, he came into this world with a cry with his breath, and he left this world with a cry when his breath left from him. And that was just heartbreaking and awful.
How can you watch that video that was released on Tuesday and not be angry, not be embarrassed, not be frustrated?
What we're going through today and what we've been going through since his murder is not the murder of one man. It is generations of systemic racism. In Minnesota is very different than other states. We're nice, and that's great, but we don't tackle issues that need to be tackled. And this is an opportunity for us to tackle the issues. We've got
color that subscribe to white culture. It's a real thing. And white privilege is a real thing. You didn't ask for it. You're not a bad person because you have it, but you have it because you were born here and you were in the color of your skin. You have it. It's important to learn about it so that you can acknowledge it and understand how it impacts the way that you think and, most importantly, the actions that you take.
I watched that video. I've never been more disgusted, appalled, angry, embarrassed in my 22-year career in law enforcement. It was unacceptable. I do believe very, very passionately and strongly that we do things the right way in Shakopee. I do believe we're not an easy police department to work for because we have very, very high standards. That starts with our hiring process, our training, where we've always trained above minimums, and we are committed to making sure that we hire and retain the absolute best people that we possibly can, and have a culture in our police department that is the exact opposite of what you saw in that video. I want you to know we're as committed as ever to the ideals of community-oriented policing, working in partnership with the community. That's why from day one, there's been a member of our police department working hand in hand with the Shakopee Diversity Alliance. We're not perfect. I will never say you're never going to see a Shakopee police officer do something wrong. We're not perfect. But we have a culture of accountability. We have a history of accountability in this city, in this police department. Our goal every day is to be the best police department in the state of Minnesota.
Great. Now, what happened in Minneapolis is a tragedy. When I saw it, I couldn't believe my eyes. And it reminds me, I was at home working today, hammering nails and things. It reminds me of a song about, hammering out peace and hammering out the dangers and hammering out the warnings and bringing back love. And I think that's what we need in our society, and I hope we can share that and build that. Thank you.
Police brutality is completely unacceptable. The power to do what you want against anyone you want is not allowed and will not be allowed in the community of Shakopee. We need to commit to solve these problems, and we need to hold other people up, hold our people by the rule of law, with no special treatment of who you are, who you work for, or how much money you have.
That everyone is human and that there's no color, and we shouldn't discriminate others because of color or how we see others. We should perceive everyone the same because in our heart, in our soul, it's all the same.
You don't see color, you don't acknowledge who we are, our culture, our traditions, our upbringing, our schooling, our systems that we bring when we migrate to the U.S., then that makes you colorblind, and this creates where we're at today. Please, I beg you, start seeing color, because that makes a difference when we walk in the room.
In the 60s, Martin Luther King said he had a dream. It's 60 years later. I would hope that we could stop dreaming and live it. Diversity, equity, equality for all.
It's critical that the general public who the police work for are not afraid of their servants, and that our servants actually listen to the people, not necessarily agreeing, not necessarily taking action, but actually listen, because sometimes we the people are actually right.
Together, let's take a breath that was denied for George Floyd, a face and voice for the unheard and the oppressed. Under cruelty's knee, unable to gasp for air, let that air swirl into a wind, and the wind into a storm to pour over us for a new beginning.